After the dream, everything accelerated, getting weirder and weirder really quickly. I suppose it was for everyone in those days, but the dream had sort of focused me on one issue. Over the next few weeks at work, I talked to Jack a little more than usual, about the old days mostly, but also another employee that I met for the first time after changing to the day shift. He had been into the punk scene in the good old days. At some point in our conversations, he told me a story about going to the wildest show he ever went to. The year, 2004. The headliner, a band with a curious lead singer, a tall, lanky guy with a bright orange mohawk. When I asked what made the show so wild, he said a liquor company had been doing a promotion with free beverages, an orange bottle of a very powerful solution that blew Mad Dog completely out of the water, but he had never seen it on store shelves before or since. I made a completely normal face while he told the story, although I was screaming in my head, but some instinct told me not to involve anyone any further in what I was involved in already. If they were having the dreams, for instance, no one was talking about it. At home, I looked up the word hiraeth online. It was Gaelic, and the meaning was something like longing for lost love or a home. I had those things, I thought, staring at the screen. I have a home. I have the woman of my dreams. I haven't lost anything. Had I? We weren't as passionate as we were in the old days, sure. We fought a little more often, usually over money. I pushed it all out of my head before I started thinking about the dream again. I walked to the living room, where the wife and kids were watching television. Some cartoon show. I heard the animated characters speaking in their exaggerated voices as I made my way through the living room and into the kitchen for a beer. It was my day off. It was the weekend, and I decided it was late enough to crack open a cold one. I removed the cap on the edge of the counter, walked back into the living room, raised it to my lips, and dropped it directly onto the carpet. I stared at the television screen. It was a commercial. It was an ad for a pharmaceutical company that had been in the news the last few weeks. They had always made pills for depression, anxiety, and things like that, but their new product was a kind of implant that was supposed to regulate mood, prevent chemical imbalances, keep you focused. I thought I was seeing things. I kept looking, the beer leaking out onto the carpet, the sound in the room sort of fading in and out. It was the spokesman of the company, Focus Medical Solutions. It was a skinny, strange-looking man with red hair, almost orange but not quite, combed back very professionally. He was wearing a black suit and delivering the pitch for the implants. It was the kid. I was sure of it. It was the kid from the rave and presumably from some other places, if my coworkers' recollections were accurate. The sound of the kids complaining about the long commercial died away in and out until it was gone, and I could hear every word he was saying as if he was talking directly to me. The energy you had when you were young. the focus, the ability to appreciate what you have. How far could you go today if you still had it? Don't you miss feeling powerful, promising, like you could go anywhere, do anything, and succeed? Isn't that how you got where you are today? Riding that wave, securing your best life and building upon that. What if that wave had never crested? How much better off would you be today? Ask your doctor about Hiraeth today. You can try a single-dose sample and decide if a permanent implant is right for you. No pressure, and it's covered by most major health insurance plans. I snapped out of it. The room returned around me, though my head was swimming, my wife asking what the hell I was doing standing next to the spilled beer instead of cleaning it up. "Are you okay?" she asked. I said I was fine, lying my ass off. I hated lying to her. I was proud that I had gotten so far in life without doing it. I knew from talking to my coworkers that it was much easier to bullshit your spouse about anything that might complicate your relationship. Maybe even correct to do so. But I hated it. I didn't really have any friends anymore. She and the kids were my whole world. But it was the dream. Seeing his face on television. I was fucking terrified, and I lied on the spot. To protect her from... what? Well, I didn't have to wonder for long. The next day at work, I asked if any of my coworkers had seen the ads or thought that the implants were weird. No one had seen the commercial, but a few of my fellow employees had relatives with pacemakers, things like that. Someone mentioned an IUD, and we had a laugh. Maybe it wasn't that weird. Maybe it wasn't even the kid. Maybe me and Jack were misremembering his name. This could all be happening because of a dream, I told myself. Typical enough for a middle-aged man with middle-aged anxieties to have such a dream. The symbols of youth, the woman I loved, some kind of antagonist, some kind of looming figure. And the headstone, of course. The little stone obelisk waiting all the way at the end of the tunnel to mark the end of my life. I felt a little better until I got home, and the kid was in the mailbox. The letter was sitting at the back of the box, standing on its side and leaned against the interior of the mailbox. So he was grinning at me as soon as I opened the little door. I knew what was in it before I opened it. I tore the side of it and shook it towards my hand. A little blister pack marked "Free Sample" popped out from behind the image of his gaunt face grinning on the envelope and fell into my hand. It was a little orange pill. I put it in my pocket like I was scoring at my dealer in my 20s, looking around to see if anyone was watching. I threw the envelope away and walked inside to an excited chorus of "Daddy!" and tried to forget. But after everyone was asleep, I found myself still awake. Maybe it was switching from nights to days. It played hell with some people's sleep schedules, but more than likely, it was just the fear, the terror of it all. Wondering if I was right or wrong. I waited, watching boring news, other programs, trying to see the commercial again, to see if I had been imagining it, that it was him, if I was just wrong. I finally gave up on watching the news. I guess I was trying to bore myself to sleep. Maybe it wasn't the kid. Maybe, like I had been thinking, maybe it was just some kind of midlife crisis playing out, just like it did for everyone in their 30s. The rising peril, the terror of the plague, everything else going on in the country. I felt the sample pill in my pocket, like it was throbbing, begging for me to take it out, look at it, swallow it. I got up and walked to the front door and stared outside, through the little window cut in the upper portion. Just the empty road in front of our house. No one anywhere. Nothing.
Take a moment for yourself. Get close with the lights down low. You and I and no one else. I get the feeling that I wanna explode. Baby, you grab my attention. Tension, burning fever high. Take me to another dimension tonight. The rules do not apply. I can't stop this feeling, baby. Only you can make me come alive. When we're crushing, there's a passion. Boy, you got my heart on overdrive. I can't stop this feeling, baby. Only you can make me come alive. When we're crushing, there's a passion. Boy, you got my heart on overdrive. This is where I wanna be. Hands up, feel the bass in my heart. Give me faith and I will leave. I take the risk 'cause you're never too far. Right now I'm drowning in emotion. Caution flies right out the door. Baby, you're pushing this devotion. I can only ask for more.
I turned around. 2 people were fucking on my couch. I didn't move. I was shocked, frozen in place. On top of the other person, who I was sure was my wife, was the orange-haired kid. He had a huge, glowing mohawk like my coworker the punk had described, and his eyes were bugging out of his head like sprouting mushrooms, pinkish orange and glowing, smoldering. His tongue whipped around the sides of his open mouth as he laughed and choked and spit, like a lunatic drowning and just finding it hysterical. And sweat ran down his long, thin, pale body, a hazy smoke pouring off of his wet skin. I could hear my wife moaning underneath, but in pain or pleasure I could not say. And I couldn't see her face around his back, the ridges of his impossibly long reptilian spine twisting and rearing towards me, away from me. I finally started to move. I approached him, and he turned to look at me, saying, "Time to get down to business, before someone else does your business for you." And both of his eyes exploded. Smoke, noxious pink and orange smoke pouring out of the eye sockets while he screamed with laughter, a vicious stream of rotten blood running down his face. I snapped awake on the couch. "Time to get down to business," the kid yelled from the television. It was the commercial. I knocked a beer bottle off the coffee table trying to grab the remote. I used the little DVR from the cable company that I had turned on earlier, desperate to see the commercial again, to back it up and watch the whole thing. The horrible images of the nightmare still seared into my mind. It was pretty much what I saw before, but the part at the end, the slogan, I must have missed it when my wife had snapped me out of it, asked me what was wrong. Time to get down to business. It's what I used to think right before throwing a handful of dope down my throat. It's what he had said to me that night so long ago when he showed me what real dope was. It was him. I paced around for a few hours, and then the sun came up, and then I went to work. I clocked in, rounded the corner, and as soon as I saw the floor, it immediately became clear that everyone had gotten the samples. Everyone had tried them. Well, everyone except the punker. He was just watching it all, dumbfounded as I was, and looking a little disappointed in everyone. They were laying our work for the day out like it was nothing. They were going to be done a couple hours early at this rate. I tried to follow with them and participate as I normally did, but I couldn't keep up. I danced like I never had danced back in the old days on any dance floor. I snaked and twisted, threw labels onto boxes like I was dealing cards, scanned barcodes like a gunfighter in a shootout, And they were still just cruising so much faster with so little effort, so focused. Focus. I breathed deeply. I heard a door opening, saw a flash of a punk haircut from the back lit by daylight from outside, saw it close behind him. Walked on out, I thought. But I had responsibilities. I had a reason, I told myself. I had reasons beyond how badly I wanted it. How badly I wanted what I knew that the pill would do. I had to keep up with everyone else. I looked through the little window to the office and saw my boss, saw Jack staring back out, just grinning like a fucking circus clown and watching us while typing away on his little laptop without even looking down. I knew then that fighting it was over. I knew it was time. Time to get down to business, I said to no one. I took the sample out of my pocket, removed the pill, and swallowed it.
Sweet mermaid or Salinas, read just to see between us. You swim inside my mind, pure magic so sublime. Sweet mermaid. Sweet mermaid.
I'm in the hot box. I'm in the hot box. In the hot box. In the hot box.
A few hours later, I was home. We had finished early. We couldn't stop sort of bouncing around, and I guess Jack was sick of looking at it, so he had dismissed everyone. It was like having a tunnel. A tunnel opened in your mind where you could look through, look back, and see everything you ever saw. Everything fun you ever did. All the good times and good days you longed for while you slugged through your normal life, your life in the present. Except it wasn't longing for the days, the good times. It was like being there. I heard all my old favorite songs, saw all my favorite people, lived all my favorite days over and over and over again. And my body had finished my work, driven home, and was now cooking an early dinner. I realized my oldest child was talking to me, asking me if I was okay. I tried to answer, and I think I must have said something, but I don't know what. A moment later, it seemed, I was eating dinner, and me and my wife were laughing, the kids all looking at us like we were scaring them. We were dancing together. Even as we sat mostly motionless at the dinner table, our eyes locked as we chewed our food. We were both dancing, and we were young and perfect. We were at that party, the one where we finally got together. Before it was too much, I ended up carrying her out. She had taken a sample herself, of course. One a friend had offered her that morning at the school drop-off, and we each knew that the other was really there. We were together again, in our favorite place, together again after so many years of only growing apart. After a while, the kids left the dinner table, and at some point we woke up sitting in our chairs the next morning. I looked outside, and I reached over to wake her up. It's the sunrise, honey. It's the sunrise. Just like... She cut me off. We're getting the implants, she said. I nodded enthusiastically. And I guess you know the ending to my little story, because you can just look outside. I guess you know we all decided we wanted the implant. Those that were given the choice. We all made the same decision. Well, except for one or two punks and rebels. I don't know what people that didn't get one do. I don't want to. I see them sometimes out of the corner of my eye, walking slowly on the sidewalk and looking down, ignoring the rest of us. Some of them might be some kind of religion, or just chicken shit, or couldn't get the insurance for some reason. The doctor says our kids are too young. They don't need it yet. One of the kids went off to boarding school, and I can't exactly remember when. The other two just stay in their rooms mostly. Two of the other employees at work got laid off, but they didn't seem sad about it. I assume they just got different jobs. We didn't need them anyway. We're very productive now. The dose from the implant is so perfect. It just goes and goes. I don't even understand how it works. Don't want to. Don't want to know why it never needs a refill. I just dance all day in my head. And my wife is there. And we're young and we aren't worried about growing apart, about getting old, about the kids not doing well, about anything. We just get right down to business every day. But the only thing, I don't know if you've noticed. I don't know where your party is, where your good time through your little tunnel is. But sometimes the tunnel, sometimes it's kind of thin and weird. It's weird. Sometimes I would swear I see something moving around out there, outside the tunnel. It's hard to look because I'm always at the party and my wife is there and we're young and we're dancing and we're perfect, but sometimes I wonder if you've seen it too. Seen them. Something. Someone outside the tunnel. And the tunnel, it's getting shorter. I would swear that it is. I feel like any day now, I can't quite be sure, but I feel like any day now, something is going to change. Something has to. I can see him behind the turntables better and better. The closer I get, the kid, Hiraith, he's playing that set, the amazing set that never ends, my favorite songs, my favorite time. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens now, no matter how weird it is. I love weird stuff, after all. I like it. A nice break from same day after same day, same movie, same song. I like to get a little freaked out. Maybe that's why sometimes I sneak away from the party, into the tunnel, just a few steps. Maybe that's why I can't stop looking at the little shapes. Outside, it's thinning, gauzy walls. I think I saw one poke through, like a long finger, curling and curling like it had one too many joints, black as onyx and wet like an oil slick. Sometimes I think I can hear them talking to each other about us, telling each other that it's almost time to get down to business for real.
And now it seems as if we're used to the shaggy. We made our beds and now we hate where these beds be. Took nothing at all to part this Red Sea. I'm a shackled child, singing the good song of freedom. They've got no pride, they interrupt our grieving. Teardrops dropping for the pain of the world. My best friend dies when she was just a young girl. Left me here to fend for myself, now the pain never leaves. We just learn to cope, so when the devil needs hanging, will you tie up the rope and shout, pull? Let's put an end to this bull Zen thing. How many years before we practice what we preach? How many tears before we truly clinch the peak? Only to find that there is no honey on the moon. Official goon with the unofficial croon. I'm all things to all men, all of the women, all the children. Just say when and I'll take it till my child is. Who's the hardest? Who's the hardest? I'm all things to all men, all of the women, all the children. Just say when and I'll take it till my child is. Who's the hardest? Who's the hardest? 16 bar cycles, heartfelt recital. From the wacky blackie man, they should've called me Michael. Look at the monster you made, look at the monster you paid. But you claim no responsibility, cause it's each to himself in these times that we live. Does God have a sense of humor? Then the joke's on us, cause we're chasing our tails for how long? The tussle makes us house strong. Vintage poor people's fun. If we could ease up on these booze and fags, then just maybe life wouldn't seem so mad. Be a man, my dad said, but what the hell he know? He lost these dreams, he lost his flow. And I don't wanna be alone, I'm born king, so where's my throne? I'm too intense, I'm too deep, I'm too nice for life. So what makes this place so nervous? I'm all things to all men, all of the women, all the children. Just say when and I'll take it till my child is. Who's the hardest? Who's the hardest? I'm all things to all men, all of the women, all the children. Just say when and I'll take it till my child is. Who's the hardest? Who's the hardest? I'm all things to all men, all of the women, all the children. Just say when and I'll take it till my child is. Who's the hardest? Who's the hardest? I'm all things to all men, all of the women, all the children. Just say when and I'll take it till my child is. Who's the hardest? Who's the hardest? But you claim none. We're searching for Jesus, but I'll be damned if I'll be crucified. 10,000 spies, compulsive lies. They hate me, they love me, they hate me. Cause I'm all things to all men, all of the women, all the children. Just say when, and I'll take you till my TARDIS. Who's the hardest? Who's the hardest?